Getting this book was difficult. Like, I ordered it. It was supposed to arrive at the get-go of this month. I ordered it like a month or two ago. It didn't arrive at the get-go of the month. It got delivered in the wrong location. My order got canceled. I got my money back. They couldn't send me another book because they were out of stock. I had to wait a whole another week to reorder it, and it finally arrived yesterday. But I'm happy I have it. Like, I've been waiting forever to be able to read them. The main character is this little mushroom. He's just trying to find his spore. The spore is basically his child. He's just trying to get it back. He has to go to a human base. He comes across a dying human, and him and the dying human, he tried helping the dying human, but there was not much he could do. He ends up basically taking over the dying human's body, basically taking the flesh, blood, cells, DNA, genetics, everything to form his own body, his own human body, and even this human's memory so he could return to the base. And in this world, you can turn into monsters. Yeah, if you get affected while you're outside of the base, like zombie situations, like a zombie accomplice, yeah, you can turn on a full-on monster. And when you arrive at the base, you get tested, and like, it's not full-on real tests. Like, these judges just stand there, watch you, and if they think something's off, they can kill you. And sometimes you can get handed over to the scientists, basically scientist judges, and they will do tests on you, actual scientific tests on you, and see if there's anything wrong with your genetics. And if it's okay, you can enter the base. If you can pass both of them, you can enter the base. Like, that's how messed up is the situation. Like, if they think you might be affected, you will die. Even if you're not. The main character had to find work for himself, and he almost got himself a job at a brothel. Luckily, he didn't end up working at the brothel, but he almost did. And he ended up working with a doll maker, and this doll maker makes kind of dolls for people to get through their griefs, or like sexual dolls, but any kind of dolls. Basically, they look like someone's dead lover or dead partner or dead friend, but someone helped them through their grief or through their sexual needs. So the original host, the person the main character is walking around the face of, the reason why he died was he originally did not want to go outside the base. Like, he wanted a nice cushy job, and which, his childhood friend who had feelings for the original host feared that this cushy job would get to a cushy partner. And, this childhood friend had feelings for the original host, and also because he basically, whenever the situations were tight, he was kind of living off the original host. So he was like, he couldn't lose his, money back, and he couldn't lose the person he had feelings for. So he's like, why don't you do mercenary work with me? And he kept, pestering the original host until the original host agreed, and he dragged the original host out with his mercenary group. But when the situation got tight, he left the original host to his death. That's how much of a POS he is. And then he won't leave the main character alone because he thinks the main character is his personal property. And the male lead, his job is, he's one of the head judges, basically. He makes decisions, and no one can question his decisions. And he's been doing this job for 7 years, and he started when he was 20. And people before who had his positions usually maybe last 3 or 5 years, and then they killed themselves because they couldn't handle it anymore. But the male lead's been doing it for 7 years and have killed the most people, or supposed affected people, which has caused a bunch of hate and a bunch of riots because people want him out of that position. And they kind of want to get rid of the whole judge thing. Because, they're watching their loved ones, people they care about, just get murked, and they're just told that they're affected. But yet, is there any full-on proof that the person who got killed just because they had a prick was actually affected or not? Or they were just killed because of that reason? Like, there's a lot of people who want the male lead's head over this. So one of the first dolls the main character makes is the male leads, and the person who bought it was the head of the brothel, or a brothel worker. She bought the doll. She only paid for half of it, and she was going to pay for the rest after the doll was done, but she ends up dying during a outburst. Basically, someone with an infection did end up getting into the base and, mutated and was causing a scene, an outburst. And, she was sitting right beside him, and she was able to get away, but she ended up still pricked by him, by the mutated person, and the male lead killed her. right then and there and killed a bunch of people who could have been affected. And the main character had to watch it all. And now they don't have the woman they can give the doll back to, so the main character was forced to take the doll back home with him to hide it, because making a doll of the male lead was kind of no-no. But the male lead was there because he already knew what they did and already arrested the main character's boss, another person involved. Yeah. And the main character tried to hide the doll, but there was nothing he could do, so he had to drive the male lead to his apartment with the doll. And when he went to get the male lead water, the male lead set the doll up. So the main character at first almost has a conversation with the doll when he realizes something's wrong and turns his head and realizes the male lead's sitting there staring at him. And he tells the main character he's arrested for indecency. And I'm like, oh! Like, Melly, the main character was not going to cheat on you with a doll that looks like you. He might have been jealous at that moment. I know he wasn't, but we all know later he would have been jealous of that doll. I will say this, the main character's boss, his doll maker boss, he is a hoot. Like, he's always teasing the main character and being like, you need to find yourself a good man. You need to find yourself a man that will provide for you, a cushy, good wealth man. Before they're all out, you got to find yourself one, because you're good enough that you can find yourself one. And you also got to find one that won't bully you. Don't go out looking at those mercenary mans. They will hurt you, honey. They will bully you. And then when he sees how close the male lead and the main character he is, he goes, go get your man. Like, they're in danger. They're stuck in an apartment building, and he tells the main character, go get your man. Call your man and tell your man to come get you. And the main character did do that, and the male lead came rushing to them, and the boss was like, I told you so, I told you so. And I was like, I love this dude. And when they arrived to the district, his boss is like, I gotta stay with you. And the main character's like, oh, I would have let you stay with me, but I have to wait for the male lead to get done with he's doing some judge work. And his boss is like, oh, I see ya, I get it. You go give your man his stuff, because the main character's walking around with the dude's coat, notebook, and pen, and his boss is like, nope, go get your man. And I'm like, oh, I love him. This time a humongous outbreak happens. Basically, a bunch of monsters broke from underneath the ground and burst into a district. And this was during the time period the main character and his boss was in their prison cells. Luckily, they were able to escape their prison cells. They put them into a temporary prison, but that temporary prison had to be moved to an apartment. Then they rushed them to a safer location, to District 6, and they have to do a bunch of judge work and testing. And there's rioters writing about the male lead's whole position, wanting him stripped of it, that these murders are unjustly, like, the male lead's killing a bunch of people. Like, it is basically Judgment Day on this old district. Basically, 60% of everyone is being murked. Like, it is a full-on bloodshed that is happening. Like, oof. They even have to kill an official, like, one of the military men. They have to kill him too. Like, this is how bad it is.